and welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hey crew, welcome to episode 124 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Riseley, and earlier this week I did a live and free webinar around 10 things you can do now to gain sponsorship. Well, there was actually way more than 10 strategies. So today's podcast is going to be the replay of that webinar. It was accompanied by our workbook. So if you're interested into the workbook, please head over to the show notes to find that link and race over to grab that free workbook that goes with the webinar. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Everyone is keeping well. Look forward to seeing you next week or around the track. For those who've been following me for a long time, Belinda Riseley, I'm from Motivate Training Management. I've been working in motorsport. I've been born and bred actually into motorsport. I'm going to go through that in a little bit more details. However, the thing with sponsorship is that you need to be syncing it all the time. So whether it is the Australian financial year, whether it's the UK financial year, whether it's the US financial year, predominantly you need to be seeking sponsorship every month of every year in order to gain sponsorship. There's no point just going to ask somebody in November what they're going to do. There is absolutely no point, and it's my cringe-worthy thing when someone goes, hey guys, I'm racing at Bathurst like in 6 weeks' time. If you're a sponsor and you want to get on board, please come on board. Because I hate those posts. They're never going to do it because it takes a lot of time to gain sponsorship. Yes, we know those that work in sponsorship, it is actually called partnership or relationship, but we don't, when I thought about the whole concept and the name of this presentation, I was like, well, people, especially like beginners to amateurs, which is what it's tailored for, have a more of a relationship and alignment with the word sponsorship. But as you progress, it does obviously become a partnership. And ideally, that's what you guys need to get and want to get. So ideally, like first of all, you may get a product or a sponsor, a product or a service sponsorship. But then in the end of the day, it's going to become a partnership where it's somewhere that you're going to develop over the next 3 to 5 years time. So this presentation is if you obviously are needing sponsorship, you're looking to maintain and have partnership. So we're also going to go through about if you have I know a lot of, especially like karters, a lot of the grassroots competitors, Formula 4 drivers, F4, F3s, they have a lot of product and services-based sponsors, but they're like, how do we now monetize that? So hopefully this is going to give you some direction. And then obviously once you have that sponsorship, it's not about just getting that check or getting their signature onto a piece of paper. It's about how do you maintain them and then how do you grow them sponsorship as well. And then, of course, if you wanted to keep racing today, tomorrow, and forever. So, guys, I do want this to be interactive for those that have worked with me before. So if you let me know, just like write into the chat, be interactive. So why are you here tonight? Like, what are you wanting to get out of sponsorship? Every response that you kind of give me, it gives me purpose to give you guys content. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my why right now. But, of course, I do have a new sponsorship course that I've just launched. It's 8 modules. We're going to go more in details at the end of it. And it's around about, you will see at the end. But if you sign up, we do have a sponsorship proposal deal. So for those who haven't worked with me before, who don't know anything about me, anyway, I'm Belinda Riseley. I'm the founder of Motivate Training Management. I'm the mum of 2 boys and a stepson. It's so much fun at 15 years of age, and I'm a passionate motorsport lover. I've been born and bred into go-karts. So my dad was actually the go-kart dealer, the first go-kart dealer for Dino karts. And both my brothers were very successful. My younger brother could have been driving today in supercars with all of the guys that are on the grid today. So I've grown up with all of those dudes, and I've trained most of those guys. But back in 1996, when I started my fitness business, I'm taking photos and any of that social media concept wasn't really available. So unfortunately, I don't have much of that concept, but I will, and I do have those guys come in and drop into our my membership site. So the toolkit. So I've got Tim Slade, James Courtney, Chaz, Shane, Jamie, like really. This was my playground that I grew up with at Oran Park, Ipswich. Every weekend I actually spent my life. I'm in my mid-40s. So, yeah. So back in those days, that is what I did. My older brother is 11 years older than me, and he races twins. And so, yeah. I'm originally from Sydney. Oran Park was my track. So, yeah, I've just born and bred. And my why is because I love the sport. And I want to make it as cheap as possible for all of you guys to be able to continue to racing. And so I give you all of this value as cheap as possible. And I free resources as much as I can because I love the sport. And I know if we don't have sponsors, we don't have sports. If we don't have competitors, we don't have sport. And I definitely don't want it to sink. Do I think we have too many categories? Yes. But that's another story for me, Motorsports Australia to take up, and also FIA. But anyway, so initially I started back in 1996, and as a fitness business, as I said, I was training Troy Hunt, Mark Winterbottom, Joey Mawson. Again, a lot of the guys I actually had a premises in Peakhurst in New South Wales. And that's what I did as a fitness business. And as I worked with those drivers over a course of 10 years, I could see that the industry was changing, and it was growing from just not being performance-based. So we were there training to get ultimate results, which was fantastic. But over that time, everything kind of changed to being about what kind of sponsorship could they bring to the team. So over the early 2000s, the whole industry changed, like the whole society. Excuse me, I just threw down as you do. Anyway, and so, so the whole industry changed, and it became about what could the athlete actually bring to the team. And it wasn't even so much about the performance. And so I saw the likes of, and I don't want to name names, but I did actually work with them because, anyway, I worked with them, and they just could not get to that point because they didn't have a brand, they didn't have a personality, they didn't have social media following. But back then, obviously, social media wasn't a big thing, but now it became a big thing. But nor do they want to become on there, because all they want to do was go racing and be a racer, and that's fine and that's fantastic. But unfortunately, once it hit this period of time when it was all about sponsorship and money, it actually stopped their growth. And so again, there's lots of beautiful, fantastic, awesome drivers out there that haven't made it to the top game, not because of their achievements, but purely because they didn't want to work on their off-track development. And my drive is to teach beginner to amateur motorsport competitors that if you're wanting to go places within the motorsport realm, that you need to work on your off-track development, even if it's in the esports, because even those people are still looking, those teams are still looking for sponsorship. Who are you as a brand? What can you bring to it, the community? What's your social media like? What's your newsletter like? And we're going to go through all of that today. Feel free to ask any questions as we go along. So that's a little bit about me. So I started back in 1996. I had a hiatus for about 12 years while I had my children. And then when I came back to it, I was like, oh, this was my passion. This is my hobby. This is something that I really, really love to do. And I love the sport, as I just said. And so I was like, you know what? Online started becoming more and more popular. And I was like, wow, let's do it. And I looked on to online resources. You put in motorsport fitness into Google, there wasn't much. You put into motorsport sponsorship, there also wasn't a lot. And so I was like, you know what? We kind of do all of it. And my whole premise is, since day one, being an exercise
physiologist, is the sheer fact that you need to have a holistic approach to racing. You need to have fitness, nutrition, mindset, social media, sponsorship, branding, PR, and media training. They're the 8 elements we actually offer as a driver. We have different courses, different workshops, live-to-live events as well. And so this was something that was really like just a light bulb moment for me to go, hey, you know what? You guys need it. And this is what I'm going to do as cost effective as possible. So I just went through that, you know, as I progressed with the drivers and we're doing the physical training, we're doing the nutrition, and we're doing the mindset of them all, that it was getting to a stage where they were going, oh, okay, cool. So what kind of money can you bring across? And you guys can Google it as well, that there was a change in that dynamic. And people were like, well, what's sponsorship? We never knew what sponsorship is. And still, so those that have been following me for a long time know that I don't call it sponsorship. It actually is partnership development, or commercial development. But for beginners to amateurs, we're like, it's all about sponsorship, because that's the word that, you know, aligns with them best of all. So it's like that people are looking to know, the teams are looking to know who you are a brand. And more so now, I feel like they are aligning them. Like last night, Alonso got back with Aston Martin because his alignment with his values and his alignment with the sponsors works with Aston Martin. That is why, like, they could have got to Oscar Piastri, they could have gone to Jack Doohan, they could have gone to a whole range of other new up-and-comers, but they didn't. They knew what would best. And it's all of these things here. So the teams are looking for a brand that have a personality, and they have direction. And, of course, they do have that desire to win, but they need to know that those drivers actually know how to bring in sponsors, how to greet sponsors, how to maintain sponsors, how to have a personality, how to engage fans. Like, it is such a big package. It's not about driving. And even if you talk to a Top Gun V8 supercar driver, anyone in the top 25 supercar drivers today or yesterday, they will say that most of the time is spent with sponsorship or partnership development. And so it's all about having a personality, being able to talk, having your pitch developed, having your values done, all of these kind of other side outside of actual race results. So today, I hope that you will be able to embrace some of these strategies to not only gain, but also maintain sponsorship. So especially in karting, obviously that's my thing that I love and being bred into. But, you know, so many times I'm like, oh, my kid's just started, my kid's too young, there's not enough room on the vehicle to throw a sticker, but that's not what sponsors are after. So I'm hoping that after today that you've got some more strategies to put into place. And again, feel free, Robert, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I got disconnected there before, I think. So
okay.
I dropped out somewhere. But just on what you're saying is so true. As I mentioned when I started, I've been involved in competition. I was a late starter, obviously, but I've been pretty much involved since 2003, right? And I realised early on that I couldn't, I didn't have enough resources or money or whatever to finance what I really wanted to do. So the only answer is you got to find that support from other people or other entities or other institutions or groups. So the first thing that I started studying sponsorship actually early from the Americans, and I found that at that time there was in 2000, around about 2000, there was something like $5 billion in motorsport in America alone. Like that's the USA. And but what was really impressive to me was that they also said only 5% of that was with podium winners.
Yeah.
Now, so that sort of gives you my military background says that's a good combat indicator. So what it tells you is that it's as you say, it's not about the driving almost or the activity. It's what you do about the activity and what you do with the activity with other people who are supporting you. And so my take on that was that most sponsorships actually come from your local area, from your garage down the road, from from your regional areas who people want to be involved with you. They want you to shine up on them, So really, it's a business process. It's a business. So that's the first singular sort of moment was to realise, and luckily I realised it early, and I've been working ever since on that side of it. Is that it's a business. It's almost like it's not racing or rallying or cars or whatever. My main game is tarmac rally, right? So that's a different genre as well as track racing, etc. I do a bit of track stuff, but mainly for testing and stuff. But primarily, once you work out it's a business, then it changes your whole paradigm. And then this is what you're talking about here. So I really love your work. So it's good.
So guys, just so I know, look on my screen, it's saying, do you see network up there? No?
It looks like we're on the first slide.
We're still on the first slide. Maximise performance on and off the track.
I'm just going to... I hate technology. I'm too old for technology. All right.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at a big picture of you, actually.
Oh, well, that's great.
There you go.
I'm sure you enjoyed that.
And I'm on this new iPad, so I could be going anywhere here. I wouldn't have a clue.
All right, how's it?
Affiliate program. Yeah, tip 2.
All right, well, that's point 2, and we've just gone past point 1, and I'm not really sure how we go back. But anyway, as I said, I don't normally use Zoom. No, on Google Meet. I'm too scared to keep pressing buttons.
Yeah, we're going back the other way now. We went from 3 to 2. So whatever you press to go from 3 to 2, we'll try that again.
All right. How's that? Oh, no, we've just...
No, it's gone now.
So number 1, guys, as a professional, make sure you know how to use online.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
How's that?
Network.
Working?
We've got a network.
All right. So as anyone who's been following me for a long, long period of time, my number 1 thing is that motorsport is a business. So regardless of wherever you are in your career, even if you're in from karts, you're going to Formula Fords, from Formula Fords to Excel, Pulses, whatever else, motorsport is a business. And so when it comes to sponsorship or partnership development, you need to be dealing with it as a business. So it's things like setting up an ABN, having those alignments with those business, having those values, which we go through all in the winning sponsorship course or motorsport is a business course. So we have 2 different courses. So winning sponsors is all about how to gain sponsorships and having that momentum for sponsorship. And then motorsport is a business, which is due to release soon, is all about setting up a business setting up a motorsport business as a business where you can help claim tax deductions for your sponsors and how you go about them and how it's easily going to be a business transaction. Anyway, so back to tip number 1.
Hang on. Belinda.
Yes.
When you said set up, I didn't get the rest of that phrase.
Oh, sorry. The phrase as in that you need to set up, if you're a motorsport competitor, I always highly recommend, especially if you have a small business, that you should also operate your motorsport business as a small business. So you should set up an ABN, so like Imogen and Dad should be like Redburn Racing as a sole trader, because then for when it goes to seeking sponsorship that they can get tax deductions, more so if they're a company, and that depends if they're a small business. So if they've got a company, they can set up a subsidiary company for Imogen's racing, and they can all be a tax write-off. But if not, there's a few little loopholes that we go through in our Motorsport is a Business course.
Yep.
That's what ours is. So ours is set up as a proprietary limited company.
Yeah.
And then the sponsors get their invoices, they can claim GST, they can use it as whether it be advertising or whatever they want to write out for virtually as a full deduction for them.
Yeah, so it's not just about obviously getting that invoice and then being whatever else. There's a lot more like that we actually want them to do. So it's sustainability. So obviously Imogen is starting off now, and so for her, we're looking for like 3 to 5 year growth period, and for them to get on board. And we're going to go through all of it now. So as I said, Motorsport is a business, and so people buy from business. People buy from people. And so the first and easiest thing to do is to host an event. And so after tonight, guys, I'm going to send you the workbook, or I was going to add the workbook, but I'm kind of a bit frazzled and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. But anyway, I will send you the workbook after tonight. And in there it was about hosting an event. And there's a checklist that you can go through about hosting an actual event. Because being a business, as we know, that to be in business, you need to invest in your business. And so even though you may have sponsors that are purely just products and service-based businesses, also in the workbook, it goes to the types of the types of sponsorship there is available. And so therefore, if you have only product and service-based sponsors at this stage and you want to monetize them, this is a great idea and a great concept to try and get them to monetize that sponsorship. Because if you have nurtured them and you've shown them the way about how you've been able to engage sponsors, give them new likes, if they've had a competition, if you've done a store promotion or so forth, this is a great way for them to come and be at the forefront and actually be your testimonial. So again, in the workbook, there is a thing. Anyway, in a moment, I'll get someone to talk, and so I can upload the workbook. I don't have my VA or anyone exciting you to upload the workbook. But anyway, so if you host an event, get your actual sponsors up there and get them to talk about how great it was or great it is to be working with you and what it actually means. Number 2, and can I tell you guys, after tonight, I started writing this presentation and there was more than 10. So I think there's actually about 24 at the end of the day. But anyway, so go to your local council meeting and then in the winning sponsorship course, we go through about identifying values. And this is one of the first modules we actually have in that sponsorship course. And people go like, why do I need that? Like, why do I need to know about my values? But at the end of the day, it helps you identify your pitch. And again, in business, people go, what is your 30-second pitch? And so if you know what your values are, if you know what you stand for, if you know what your direction is, this gives you that 30-second pitch. In order for you to attend these local council meetings, it could be the local, whatever your general interest is. And again, when it comes to motorsports, you just need to think outside of the square of motorsports when it comes to sponsorship. It doesn't just necessarily need to be motorsport related. Again, and it comes down to your skill sets and what your interests are and things like that. You never know when your best friend at Crate might have a business that is looking to get into, parenting. So that would be a fantastic opportunity for them to get into motorsports, because there are both parents at a motorsport event. So don't just, when you think about sponsorship, don't just think about motorsport orientated brands. Think outside that realm around about what kind of excites you and what more so aligns with your values and aligns with your skill set. And again, in that winning sponsorship course, we go through that in more details about how you can pinpoint that information. But also point 3 there is like leverage your current sponsors. So at the end of the day, sponsors want to do 3 things. They want to have brand awareness coming on board. They want to have brand awareness. They want to have sales. And they just want to have a sponsorship. So clearly when you get a sponsor on board or a partner on board, you need to understand what is their objective coming on board. Is it brand awareness? Is it getting sales? Is it just connections, or just are they coming on board as a silent partnership? Those questions need to be asked when you are seeking sponsorship or when you've got a new sponsor coming aboard, so you know how to nurture them. How do you help them achieve their objective? Because come 12 months time, when we go, hey, it's been 12 months since we last spoken. If you haven't achieved those objectives, they're not going to. Sorry, guys. They're not going to want to come on board because you haven't ticked off all the boxes. And that's why I always say it's really, really important that you should always have a sponsorship agreement put into place, because a sponsorship agreement allows you to put in the KPIs, again, like any business agreement. What is the expectation of you being the driver, the athlete, and them being the sponsor? So it doesn't matter if it's your local butcher, you still want to have a sponsorship agreement put into place, because it then has that expectation. So when it comes to 12 months later or 6 months later, whatever you agree on terms, that you can go, well, hey, this was the expectation and this is what I actually did, as opposed to going, oh, June next year, hey, Mr. Butcher Man, it's time, we're needing $5,000 more, or December, we're needing $5 more grand, for our next round next year. We're going to race AKC. We're going to do 4 rounds. This is it. Are you willing to come on board? And they'll be like, well, what have you done for me? So you need to show cause. And I think that's the biggest thing with sponsorship. And I hear it even from supercars level, why supercar sponsors leave, because they don't show cause. They don't show what they have achieved. And so that's why the agreement is so important to have into place. It's a business agreement. So you really need to invest that time in principle to put into place that agreement, so everyone's expectation is clear. So again, when it comes to renewing, hey, it's already there, and you can say, you know what, I actually did 45 social media posts. I actually did 3 videos. I actually invited you 4 times. Like, you need to set up KPIs, and this is a business if you want financials to go forward. The other thing there that I've put there is testimonials, which is in the workbook. And if anyone's going to talk anytime soon, I will upload the workbook soon. But also, is having those testimonials from your current sponsors around how it is working with you. Again, people buy from business, and so they want to know, what is their experience about dealing with you? Is it how good are you? Do you have a plan? Do you offer them corporate hospitality? Yes, we know karting is a little bit different. Don't worry, I've been on to AKO for about 4 years to get a corporate hospitality tent, but there's certainly different ways around it, like where we can hire at a pub like the night before, we can buy lunches. Anyway, there's lots of different things that you can do outside of the realm of things to offer corporate hospitality. But the thing is about offering testimonials, because when you're sending out a sponsorship proposal, if they can see what it is to work with you, again, it's going to give you strength into gaining new sponsorship. So there's 3 of the biggest things. All the biggest things are at the beginning of this presentation. The other, and feel free to ask questions or drop in anytime. The other thing is around about affiliate programs. So the easiest way to get sponsorship is through an affiliate program. So for us, so for me, Motivate actually has an affiliate program. So anyone that you sign up, you get 50% off. So for example, the winning sponsorship course tonight is $4.99. So if you get a unique link, if you haven't been involved in affiliate programs before, and if someone signs up under your link, you get $249. It's 50% off. And there's lots of different things. A lot of the athletic brands, a lot of the sporting brands have affiliate programs. So look around about who has an affiliate program that you can sign up. But of course, it does need to align with your values as well. And again, people go, why do you need values? But you don't want to be a vegetarian or plant-based person and signing up with the local butcher, and that's going to be my case study for tonight. But people have affiliate programs that you can sign up with. So yeah, if you want to be an affiliate of Motivate and you sell our programs, you get 50% off all the time. So, and we have a workshop every month. And that's pretty much what our ambassador program is. But we're going to go through an ambassador program a little bit later. But so look for what your affiliates are. And in the workshop, there is an actual page where you can go through and you can write down all the affiliates that you think. So is it a sporting brand like LKSD, Imogen? I'm like looking at you because you're like top of my screen. Gymshark, they kind of do all of affiliate program too. Like, you're beautiful. I feel like you're athletic. So you like wear the brand. But when you go to sell it, and again, this is so sorry, I threw down my dinner before. Again, but when you sign up with the affiliate program, you don't want it to be 30% off for my fans. Ideally, you want to negotiate to be 2010, right? Because you want to get that money back into your pocket, not to their pocket. We're going to go through it. When I get to the end, to the ambassadors with it. All right. So through social media, so many times this strategy has worked. I think, Rob, I don't know if it was you, but someone else was saying about how they've actually researched who their targeted sponsor was going to be, and they've and I've heard it before, and they've posted it and tagged them, and it's actually engaged in a conversation off screen as well. So if there's a sponsor that really aligns again with your values, so you need to know what your values are, or that you really, really wanted to get on board, you can do some tongue-in-cheek videos, or you can do placement sponsorship posts or videos or anything like that to say, hey, have you guys... I don't have any props nearby, but anyway, how to do social media posts. But it's about trying to put them into the picture to go, hey, I'd love to be sponsored by Motivate. So do you know about Motivate services? If not, this is what they're all about.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that given that a lot of companies are constantly being approached, or some say bombarded by requests from the myriad of people in motorsport, drivers who want to go further and etc. And a whole bunch of other associated people as well. Most things are not even looked at, so you've got to be a little bit different in your approach. So yeah, I think what you're getting at here is you've got to be very creative, and they won't, unless there's some sort of a connection there. They're not going to just pick you out of the barrel of all these other 100. I've had companies say to me, we get something like 55 proposals in our email every day.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? They're going to look at them? Well, they're not going to look at virtually any of them, because they've got too many. They've got other things to do. So you've got to do something different. I remember who was the guy, Alan Jones, was it, who was he went to jail actually, Alan Jones, but he was the guy who helped win the America's Cup, right? Put the
Alan Bond.
Alan Bond. Sorry.
It was like Alan Jones is our Formula One.
Yeah. No, I know Alan Jones. Yeah. Alan Bond. Sorry. So we wanted a mate of mine who was in the precious minerals side of things way back in those days, and we figured out we couldn't work out how we're going to approach this guy because he was very good at business, etc. So what we did was I suggested what we do is we send him a letter, a handwritten letter, because he only just got remarried or something like that. So we sent him a handwritten letter, but the letter was a red one, the envelope. And it was personally addressed to him, a red one. And we actually got a reply from him, about this and that. So out of all the people trying to get in touch with him. So you got to be a bit creative, as you're saying there. So, more to the creation side, I think. It's very good. Out of the box, as you say.
That's right. Thank you very much, Robert, for that. So again, though, about how do you see when I go to full screen, it seems it says stop now, hasn't it?
I'm still looking at tip number 3, social media here on the screen.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we'll just go through that. So the
I didn't see tip number 2, by the way. I didn't see tip number 2. We went from 1 till 3 on my screen, but I might have maybe I was dozing off.
It's gonna be like that, Rob.
Not likely.
All right. So the other thing is about, and it's written into your workbook, just roundabout. When it comes to social media posts, and we just spoke about in depth about having a sponsorship agreement, that is that you need to have it clearly identify how much it costs you to do a post. So there's one thing about doing a post and tagging all your sponsors in, which is fantastic. But if someone's paying $10,000 or $2,000 and someone's paying $20,000, you don't want to give them the same social media coverage. So you need to have it clearly identified again in your sponsorship agreement. What is this $2,000 and what is this $20,000 cost for you to do a post and video, and what is it to do a cost and a video? So for $2,000 in that sponsorship agreement, it should state we would do 2 posts, 2 videos. But for $20,000, it should be we're going to do per month, that is. We're going to do 4 posts and 4 videos per month. Okay, and so that's how you need to work it out. So within the workbook, you need to work out again, what is your hourly rate worth? And again, obviously when you're younger, it's a little bit leaner than what it is once you get older. We don't have much time, or nor we have much time for video editing and doing all those kind of concepts. But again, like when you're younger, this is the thing that you can say to sponsors, okay, well, if you want me to do an Instagram post, if you want me to become an influencer, basically, my social media posts, even if they're $20, it doesn't matter. Even if they're $10 to start off with, but you need to have that clearly identified in that sponsorship proposal to get that value worth out of the money that they're bringing to you. So now if you've got some sponsors that are at 5,000, some at 2,000, this is the opportunity time for you to go, oh, okay, well, if you want me to do any more social media posts, now it's going to cost you X, Y, Z. And this is going to be into the workbook that you can work out, what is that time? How much time does it take you to do an image post? Not really, like it might be 20 minutes. I don't know. It depends on, it depends on you. How much does it take you to do video? What kind of video content do you do? Are you doing TikTok videos? Are you doing Reels? Are you doing LinkedIn posts? Like all of those things, you need to break down what is your worth as an athlete to charge to a sponsor to do a post. They shouldn't just be free and they shouldn't just be generic. Where am I? I don't know where I am.
Where are you? You're on the side. So there we are. Full screen.
Yeah, you're back on my full screen too.
Okay. Did I tell anyone that I hate technology? All right. So are we up to number 4?
Finances. Yep.
So in order to know what to seek, and this is the biggest thing that most of the things I have a motorsport sponsorship Facebook group, and one of the questions is, why are you joining the group? And they're like, oh, because, it's really expensive and we can't go racing. And it's like, well, until you know your expenses, again, motorsport is business. So until you know your expenses and what your costs are to go racing in the financial year, it's very hard to identify what sponsors to actually approach. So when I say know your expenses, people who've been following me for a long time know that I hate the gold, bronze, silver, membership packages. And the reason being is because I feel like you're targeting yourself out of the race, because especially after COVID now, we need to think a different way when it comes to sponsorship or partnerships. So if you can work out your finances and then go, you know what, my entry fees are going to be $2,200. I would be, as a sponsor, more excited if someone sent me a sponsorship proposal and said, Belinda, hey, can you sponsor us or me for $2,200 to be our sponsor entry, because you get XY benefits. And XY benefits will be you're in the sponsorship guide, you're in the e-guide, or, you know, you can get a banner at the racetrack, or there's a banner on a website. But people need to know what they are investing within. So that's why I don't like those packages. And it's so much easier to go to a sponsor and go, hey, can you sponsor this much of my racing, which is going to contribute to that much of my racing. But until they know an actual figure, they're not going to have an understanding. So in the workbook, there is an actual expense sheet, and that says like per round and per amount. But in the actual winning sponsorship course, we go into a lot more detail about working out your expenses, talking about accommodation, wages that you want to be covered on the Friday for when like mum and dad's not working, they're funding for you to be there, or you know, the support staff like mechanics and engineers for you guys to be racing on the weekend as well. You want to get all of that covered, as well as personal training, as well as massage therapy, physio, not only for yourself but also for the team, because at the end, motorsport is a business. So we need to have a clear understanding of what your expenses are in order to be able to go racing and in order to seek sponsorship, so people know exactly what you need to go racing, as opposed to a bronze, silver, or bronze, gold, silver, or bronze. I'm still in the Commonwealth gold thing at the moment. I love the Commonwealth Games. Anyway, so tip or number 5 is about engagement. So again, people buy from people. Sorry, there's more people coming in. So people buy from people, and so social media. Unfortunately, you guys don't own those platforms. And again, if you've been following me for a long time, that I'm always big about you guys having your own website and also your own newsletter. Excuse me. So if you're not big enough to have your own website as yet, definitely have your own newsletter. So in the workbook, there are some sheets about how to set up MailChimp, which is for free. Again, all of my resources I try to do as free as possible, because, again, I just want you guys to be here and to be onto the track. But if not, like these systems about having a Facebook group, which is free of charge. So a lot of the drivers, as you will see, may have memberships, and coming up in 2 months, in September, because it's already August, isn't it? Okay, so coming in the next month, in September, we're going to have a membership guru come on and talk about setting up a membership site, because the best thing about a membership site is that you can sell a membership for $5, $10, $15 per month, per year, whatever you guys want to do. But once they're in there, it's easy to you to nurture them and show them all these behind the scenes stuff. Basically that's it. But behind the scenes stuff, or you can give them discounts for coming onto coming out to the track, discounts onto your merchandise. But for sponsorship, it gives them, your sponsors, a new platform to market to at the end of the day. And these groups are really monitored onto your brand. So these groups are really onto who you are as a driver, and they're really supporting you. And so your sponsors are like, hey, we have the same values. We love Imogen. And again, sorry, Imogen, you just sit like in the front of my video here. And so therefore, like, we're supporting Imogen, you're supporting Imogen. And you know what? We're going to offer all of Imogen fans, maybe 15%. But what I'm saying to you, Imogen, is to say, hey, how about you give them 10%? Or how about you give them 5% and give me 10%, so you get that financial reward into your pocket. We'll go into that in a moment. But also with the engagement, these are the things that you own. So things like a newsletter, things like a podcast, social media for all of those young people, unlike Robert and I, is not like in our veins, but we know we need to do it. But you could be doing like a vlog, anything that's special that you can offer your fans. Having a membership site is awesome. Maybe if you can't afford to have an actual direct membership site set up, having a Facebook group, which is like a direct insight. They could pay to even get into that Facebook group now, thanks to Facebook. Again, it could be $5 or $10 a month. I mean, if you get 100 people at $10 a month, that's $1,000 a month that's coming into your bank account in order for you to help to go racing. And that's just a subscription, like over a 12-month period of time, which isn't that much money if you're adding value. And again, in the winning sponsorship course, we go through about the benefits you can offer sponsors. And also there is a benefit thing. I think that's the next slide. Maybe I took it out. Why can't I go to the next one? Okay, no, that's not. There is a thing about benefits anyway, about the benefits that you can offer not only your sponsor, but also your fans as well. So tip number 6 is about planning. Sorry, guys, I'm just mindful about time. For those who haven't met before, I love a chat and I love to give you guys as much information as I can. So I'm mindful that it's 7:56. So I'm going to go through the next 4 slides really, really quickly. There's lots of things into the workbook. And if you do have any questions, please let me know at any time. But again, motorsport is a business, so you need to have a plan. You need to have a sponsorship strategy plan. And if you don't have a plan, let me know. I can send you a free template. In the workbook, there is a SMART goal concept that you can, it's editable, that you can fill in. But again, it's probably more for like a 30-minute project that you need to sit down and go through and work, okay, what expenses do we need? Who can we sponsor? Who can we seek sponsorship from? How are we going to seek them? What are we going to do it? What is our follow-up period? So they're the 5 main things that you need to do. As I mentioned, these are the benefits. So what can you offer a sponsor? We know that in karting it's quite limited. It's about stickers on the car, logos in there, but there's so much more that you can do, as I mentioned. Maybe have a dinner the night on the Friday night, on the Saturday night, depending on like where the mass of your sponsors are, would depend on how you actually work out those sponsorship events. Sure, you can invite them, hey, karting, it's free, it's fantastic. But if not, like if you're into Shenandoah Nationals or if you're into supercars, again, what kind of sponsorship can you offer them? But also, if you've had a sponsor for a period of time, has your offering now changed? Did you offer them this to start off with, and now can you offer them something different? So look at what you've offered them. Again, this is where the benefit of having a sponsorship agreement comes into play, because if you had something to offer and maybe it was limited, now that your skill sets, maybe your achievements have changed, make sure you're in regular communication with that sponsor, that partner, to make sure they have changed. So being an ambassador is different from being a part of an affiliate program. Basically, being an ambassador, you get a discount or free products or services. And not only being a part of an ambassador program, they go, oh, all your friends or family and friends or fans can get 10% off. But what I encourage you guys to do is actually try and ask them for 50-50, because at the end of the day, you want money to go racing. So to say, okay, cool, like I can see that your product offers 20% to my fans, that's great. But what I'd love to do is, if there's a possibility, can I get 10%? back into my own pocket if I'm promoting your link. And therefore you're getting money back into your own pocket. So there is a difference between being an ambassador and being an affiliate. Being an ambassador is fun, but you want to try and get that monetary value back onto you, so you can go racing and do what you love to do. All right, so tip number 9 is about getting PR, so getting exposure locally. So during COVID, it was like the best time to get PR because everybody was looking, especially for sporting pieces, because nothing was happening. But it's still now, like, your local press is looking for exposure, your local radio, your local newspaper, and you never know who's in your community looking to get into motorsports, and not as a competitor, but maybe as a different marketing value. What are you laughing for? Is this a story? Feel free to share the story if there's a story. So we also do have free resources around about writing your own press release, what to share, pretty much like high-res photos, making sure it's all about you, but make that connection. And if it's like one strategy today, like tomorrow, go and make a connection with your local sports paper, like so your local newspaper, sports editor, and then every time you're racing, send them an article. Excuse me, especially like for me, like I live in regional Victoria, so pretty much AFL season, netball season, that's all there is. Luckily I live in Shepparton, so I have like Gary Jackson to kind of shed a light on a few things, but now he's gone. It's been very quiet. But yes, so contact them and then make that relationship with that sports reporter, because every time you go racing, send them something, send them a high res, send them the race result. Whether they post them or not, it doesn't mean anything, but it just means that they've got you at front of mind. And you know, you don't, it doesn't have to be anything professional. And again, in that winning sponsorship course, we go through about how to write press release, what to include, what kind of photos, how often to contact them. But you can do that today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. And then, it wasn't really bonus, but number 10 was about just to ask. So a lot of us, especially in grassroots, have a lot of product and service sponsorship. So again, in the workbook, there's actually the types. So there's 4 types of sponsorship that's actually listed within the workbook. So again, a lot of us have the products and service sponsors or partners, and we're looking to kind of upgrade. But until we can show them professionalism, until we can show them what social media posts we've done, until we can show them the engagement we've had not only on social media, they want to see how many people we've got signed up to the newsletter. They want to see all the leads and all the marketing opportunities that you can offer them in order to them to invest into the next stage. But simply just ask, especially if you've had someone for such a long period of time. I would say anyone that's over 18 months, I've been a product or sponsor with you, just ask the question, hey guys, like we are looking to do this over the next 3 years. But again, as a motorsport is a business, have a plan, show them the proposal. This is our growth plan for the next 3 to 5 years. Would love to have you on board. What is the opportunity for you to have? Because again, this is an easy sell because you already have that connection. But unless you're nurturing them, unless you're whining and dining and not saying, obviously cutting's a little bit different, but this I'm saying whining and dining is about customer service. How often have you checked in with them? How often have you sent them a race report? How often, such as a newsletter, how often have you tagged them into a post? How often have you actually gone to see them face to face? How often have you actually engaged with them to see, hey, have you guys got any new launches? How can I help you promote it? Can I bring my cart down? There's so many opportunities for you guys to actually get involved with them, trying to promote their services. it is just a matter of having that conversation of just ask about what can I do. I'd really, we've been working together now for 12 months. This is everything I've done for the next 3 years. This is my plan. This is my proposal. Would love for you to come on board financially, but this is what I'm seeking because this is what my financial costs are. So I hope you guys can see the difference in that concept as opposed to just going, hey, this is my proposal. This is my gold package. This is my silver package. This is my bronze package. Sign on board and let's just do business. I hope you can see, like, with the two different strategies, there's obviously a lot more structure in this behind the grounds. But once you've got all the structure behind the grounds actually happening, which we go through in the winning sponsorship course, that once it's put into place, that it's easy to be duplicated across the board. All right, so I hope there's some things that you can implement today. Ethan, Robert, Imogen.
Thanks, Belinda.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Things you got around today that you can implement, Kevin?
Yeah. It's just driven home to me a couple of the issues. In particular, the time spent, in terms of the off track, what you call the off track side. You can't skirt around that, and I find that, you got to balance it with the rest of your life and all that sort of thing. And a lot of people still, they're working and things, they've got jobs, they've got families, and, so it's not an easy area, that's for sure.
No.
But if you want to excel, you can't be average, right? So you got to do better than, you got to do the hard stuff. So, it's all good stuff. And I'm looking forward to that workbook, actually.
I'll send it through tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. The other one I wanted to just ask was, that I think you mentioned just briefly there that if you were asked, you'll send I think you called it a sponsorship plan checklist or something like that.
Yeah.
That was tip 6 or something.
Yeah.
In there somewhere. So I wouldn't mind if you could email me one of those. So that'd be good.
No worries. I'm just taking a note.
Thank you very much.
No worries, guys. Feel free to jump in. But as I said, there's a lot of resources we have available. So there is if you haven't already joined our free motorsport sponsorship Facebook group where we have lots of free resources and tools there. We've got our toolkit, which is a membership site. So each month we have different guest speakers. We've got driver coaches. We also have different toolkits.
What are you looking at?
Checklists and strategies that come into play
No,
there.
I think it's all part of the package.
And then we have our motorsport, our free motorsport coaching podcast, which is available on Apple and Spotify as well. That we have lots of stuff around there about sponsorship as well. So our winning sponsorship course, it's 8 weeks module. We've got each week it's going to be drip fed just for the first one. Because it is a new and revamped course. So I'm just going to drip it over the next 8 weeks so I can get you guys feedback. There's actual items that you actually have to do each week, so hence why I am dripping it. There's also bonuses and services that you get free courses. If you sign up today, we've got a free $199 sponsorship proposal design. With the winning sponsorship course, we have a Grow Your Friends course, which is a social media course. So about identifying which platform is best for you, how to best set up your platform, so making sure you're setting up the platform as an athlete, not as a person, how to get engagements on all the special platforms. Special platforms because I don't do TikTok, but we do have specialists that come in and provide you tips on how to do that. Again, there's 12-month access to the toolkit, which is valued at $199, and of course you get some free sponsorship coaching calls with myself. If you have got some new sponsors on board or you're looking to get started, the winning sponsorship course is $499. You can pay up front, or there's two-part payments if you're looking to get started. As you can see, and you will see with the workbook, it will give you loads of free resources to get you started, to get you on board. So, Ethan, do you have a question?
Well, for me, I think the main question is probably like the the financial, as in like what I mean is, I think it was setting up another account, like another bank
ABN.
account or something.
The ABN.
Yeah, the ABN.
Oh, that's if you want to set it up as a business. So if you're going from a hobbyist into a career, that's where you suggest that you set it up as a business, so that therefore your sponsors can write them off as a tax deduction. If you're as a hobbyist, there's still lots of benefits that you can offer.
Yeah. Actually, I remember back in, I think it was 2018, when Gary Jacobson had a meeting at the Wool House or something like that. Wool Shed, that was it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because you live in Shepparton.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I wanted to do something like that, that would be the perfect venue.
Yeah, I love the Wool Shed. Yeah, it's cool.
Actually, one thing I did neglect to mention, I actually did go to the Indy 500 this year, and they had a simulator at there, and I thought I went on it, and it was amazing seeing other people struggle to drive around an oval. And then I'm being a bit narcissistic here, so please forgive me. But I hopped on and got a 38.48, which was 234 miles an hour, the same time as Scott Dixon's pole time. Did not expect that to happen.
Well done. All right, guys. So if you have any other questions, please pop them into the chat. Otherwise, I will send you guys out the workbook and the recording in the next 24 hours. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've got some new strategies that you can put into place. As I said, most of it is a business. So the more they can set up as a business, the easier the process is going to be. But once you set up the process, it's easy to duplicate it going forward from sponsor, excuse me, or partner. Obviously making it more bespoke as you go along. The biggest thing is they want to see return on investment. Excuse me.
ROI.
Correct. So they want to see that return on investment. So making sure that you do have a plan put into place to showcase how you're going to do that return on investment. Even at a karting level, you can still do it. As I said, it's about thinking outside the square. It's about having an event on the Friday night, or having an event on a Saturday the week before or the week after, or if you're lucky to have the Monday off school, that you can actually have it on the Monday, or probably the Monday after the event, that you can do a barbecue and they can come and, or even like at Toddler, for example, excuse me, going to the indoor go-kart centre that's around the corner and doing that, during golf, during something that's your skill set. If you're into temping bowling, if you're into lawn bowls, if you're into squash, you can host your sponsors there.
Actually, Belinda, I had another question. I remember reading about Hayden Paddon, the World Rally Championship driver, and I also remember that Scott Dixon, the IndyCar driver, they actually both they ascended up through shareholding. Like, you could buy shares in their sort of company or whatever.
That's right, because they made it a business.
I just don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, they made a business and then they made a company. Sorry, I'm losing my voice now. Excuse me. So they made a company and you buy shares into the company. So there's lots of different strategies, as I said, but as long as you've got those base foundations, at the end of the day, if you can show return on investments, and you're getting those testimonials and people can start talking about you, having networking events and people that can invite their own sponsors, like, so more of like, if they've had a good experience with you, you can open the invite saying, hey, like with every invite that we've generally done, we've gone, hey, we'd love you to invite 3 of your closest business relatives to attend these events as well. And especially if it's on key to your brand. And that's the thing. So I've gone from hosting casino nights, I've gone to hosting events at Geelong go-kart track, we've done temping bowling, we've done golf events, we've done so many events, but it was just true to like who the athlete was and what resonated with them to make it work for them, to invite their sponsors, and then for their sponsors to invite their family and friends to get on board to hopefully support them as well. All right, guys. Sorry, I've gone well over into, like I said. I always really do. I love a chat because I'm so passionate about sponsorship. So I hope I've given you some value tonight. I appreciate your time. Again, if there's any questions, please get in contact with me anytime, and I'll send out the workbook and a recording to you guys tomorrow so you can review.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, bye.
See you later.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into a monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to Tea. Until next time, take care.